So Fallout New California now has a very interesting release date. With the news on Fallout 76 that I covered in this video, in case you guys missed it, we discovered that the beta for Fallout 76 is going to come out on October 23rd for Xbox users. Fallout New California, the epic overhaul mod coming to Fallout New Vegas, is a PC exclusive, also releasing on October 23rd. So if you're a PC user eagerly awaiting the Fallout 76 beta, which will be opened on PC on October 30th, this is going to be a great way to kill some time. Either way, just a week ago, Fallout New California posted their September status update. This will likely be the last status update before we get this beta release. They detail that on October 23rd, what we're getting is very much so a beta, but a very feature complete one. The main changes they anticipate making after the release of this is just bug fixes that they missed in their internal testing. They also go into detail about certain balance changes. They describe this as actually being a particularly difficult experience, that Fallout New California is a hard wasteland with a dry desert, low food resources, and not much water. What resources actually do exist are going to be camped out by the rich and desperate cities of their area. They take some shots at the Frontier, saying one of the doctors in this was supposed to be a crossover between the two mods. The Frontier is also a mod coming for Fallout New Vegas, but that team would never give them the time to actually write that, so it's just a regular doctor now. And outside of that, they largely detail how things are pretty freaking close to being done. There's a little bit of voice work that still has to be implemented. Of course, there's still going to be bug fixing going on between now and when the mod actually comes out, but outside of that, it seems like largely the focus is going to be on getting some attention to this, so actually going out to the press and getting some of the various download pages set up, so that being on Nexus, ModDB, and even a torrent option. All in all, it looks like this is going to be a very exciting release. Again, I hope a lot of you guys who maybe are hopeful and waiting for Fallout 76 play this during your time. I think it actually has a great release date considering the fact that we do have that gap in the beta. And all in all, between the different images, gameplay, and just work in progress notes these guys have been distributing, it looks like it's turning out to be a really cool experience in Fallout New Vegas that actually has a very well made story. So this mod's interesting. This is actually going to be an update for an existing mod that I didn't cover because I didn't want to get demonetized. Yeah, that's honestly why I didn't cover it. The Assaultron MAID is a mod that I'm sure some of you guys are using right now. I'm sure some Xbox users wish they could be using it right now, but what we're looking at today are some images of new paint jobs coming to that existing mod. And as you can see, they definitely look pretty good. Do you want your MAID to be a little bit darker? Those bright and vibrant colors were just a little bit too much for you and you want a more muted approach? This is going to be the update for you. I know obviously this mod kind of appeals to a very distinctive crowd in Fallout 4 modding, but hey, the way I look at it is a view's a view. But then outside of that, we actually have a look at some other Fallout 4 mods, in particular the Crate 6712, which I'm probably pronouncing wrong as that goes. I talked previously about how freaking good this thing looks. I actually love this aesthetic where you have that dark metal, but then also those wood furnishings. And in this image set, largely what we're getting a look at is a lot of different attachments that are going to be coming with this new piece in Fallout 4. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I really feel like Fallout 4 has a lack of pump action options. That being both in the regular mods, but also in just the base game, there's really nothing. There's a few great ones out there and a few other ones on the way, but this one in particular I'm excited for. I like some of the modifications. I think it makes it look and stand out a little bit more from just your traditional shot. But even beyond that, again, just that color scheme that we are seeing, I think is really top notch and getting me quite excited. But then on the other hand, we have a different approach at a robot. This is going to be KLO's counterpart. KLO is a work in progress robot mod that I have showed you a bit of in the past. It looks particularly cool, but I actually think this looks even cooler. Basically, it's going to be a character or companion in Fallout 4 in some way. The lore behind it is there was a startup company working on creating this robot. It went out of business and was working out of a garage when the bombs dropped, and he's the one prototype that does remain. Honestly, it just looks cool. Similar to KLOO, it actually looks like it's straight out of Chappie, and I personally really like that vibe. I think it's going to fit pretty well into Fallout 4. It would make a great companion that hopefully has a high carry weight. The laser R in Fallout 4 is something that is basically iconic at this point. It's been on different posters, it's coming back with Fallout 76 with even some more attachments, and some modders actually just turned into a sword because why not? But you know what we don't have? We don't have a handmade version of it, a roughly put together one that realistically would exist in Fallout 4's post-apocalyptic Commonwealth. And unfortunately we still don't, but at least now someone's working on it. So with that, we do have the handmade laser R being pretty much exactly what it sounds like. You can see the lovely wood stock that was probably supply made out of somebody's table. And outside of that, you do have the typical laser components that you've seen in Fallout 4. I've always been a huge fan of this kind of stuff. I would love to see where this goes in the future. I think it could be a great addition into Fallout 4. And this is one I will definitely be keeping you guys up to date with. Do you like Blade Runner? I don't, but somebody's adding a show into Fallout 4 for you to download. Currently it's a work in progress. This is going to be by John Conner, a mod author that has worked on a plethora of other interesting and high quality mods. This seems like one that you don't even have to be a fan of Blade Runner to enjoy. I'm not, and it looks pretty cool to me. But hey, let's just say somehow you have extremely high standards and that just isn't enough for you. Well, even beyond that, he's actually also working on this revolver, which looks equally cool, and I feel like this one almost has like a cyberpunk vibe with it. This one's particularly cool because it does have that mesh between old and new. Of course, it is an old school looking revolver, but it does have that modern top rail. I can already picture the ACOG I'll put on top of this, and jokes aside, it really does look quite high quality. I think it's going to be a great mod in Fallout 4, and I'm excited to see the animations and sounds when it's implemented. So Call of Duty Money is working on a very true to form FNFAL for Fallout 4. This is something you've probably seen in other games. It looks cool, but we don't have much else other than this image. Let me get some more updates to this Blazkowicz mod. More or less is adding in some stuff from Wolfenstein or Wolfenstein inspired things, and then some other things along the way. We got this pretty cool looking NCR mask, but even beyond that, we actually got a bunch of different textures on some of the various outfits that we have seen in previous videos and will be included with this mod. These all look particularly cool, but honestly, the big new update with this, update is that it's actually going to be bringing in one of these from Wolfenstein. I think this is going to be a really great addition to this mod and really kind of shape it out, complete it, and make it a great download in Fallout 4. It already looks particularly cool, but adding in a shotgun is always a surefire way to people's hearts. And then last but not least, we do have the Tribal T45. This is one that I've showed you a bit of and some work in progress pictures of in the past, but the notable thing about this one, and if it's going to be one of the variants that comes with this, it's super true to form to how this actually appeared in the previous Fallout game. So there's been some other mods bringing this into Fallout 4, but this is without a doubt the most accurate. It's basically taking what we had in the old Fallout and transforming that onto Fallout 4's new power system. It's fairly simple, but it definitely looks great and it definitely gives me a bit of nostalgia. Otherwise though, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video, but before we end things off, we are going to have today's psychology fun fact of the day, and what that's going to be is how not to be a crappy juror. So right now, basically, I'm taking a forensic psychology class. Forensic psychology is basically any ways in which psychology will pertain to the law. So that could be in court and the legal system itself, or even in law enforcement, or even in victimology or criminology. A lot of times in court, you'll see psychologists testifying as an expert witness. It's fairly common. You probably seen it in some YouTube videos of famous court trials. So something super well documented in psychology is eyewitness testimony is actually not the best. This is particularly interesting though because eyewitness testimony is one of the most influential pieces of evidence to jurors, basically laymen, people without psychology degrees. But basically when you actually have somebody on the witness stand that did see a thing, there are a number of things that could factor into them getting information wrong, and not in like a deliberate manner, but basically your memory just isn't as good as you give it credit for. So much so that the way questions are asked, something known as suggestive questioning, can change people's memory. Basically, your memory will work to fill in the blanks on different things you do know as fact, and that filling in the blanks could create a lot of problems and can be manipulated. And even beyond that, there could be coaching done ahead of time. Again, not done in malice, but it can just kind of form someone's memory to be more favorable to one side of that crime. One of the most interesting parts about this is when you actually do have an expert witness who is a psychologist come in to give testimony about the fallibility of memory, or why eyewitness testimony based on research isn't the greatest indicator. Not that people are lying, but just there's a lot of issues with memory, and a lot of times they're trying to recall things that they only saw for a short time from a long time ago, and they might get certain details wrong. Well, basically when they actually talk about that, the juries tend to write them off completely. And with some surveys done on juries who hear somebody talking about how bad eyewitness testimony is, a lot of times they'll just say, I probably know better than the psychologist. Like literally, that was consensus after surveying a bunch of people. believable. So the takeaway isn't that eyewitness testimony is always a lie or everyone's wrong, it's just that it has its issues and you should probably look at some of the other evidence also. There's a ton of cases where basically the eyewitness will say one thing, all the other actual tangible evidence will say something else, but people will side with the eyewitness because they believe them more heavily. Either way, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. As always, again, I thank you all for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and with that, I hope to see you all next time. Later.